All right, here we have to do a point slope form equation that's perpendicular to a given line, and we have to graph it. So let's take a look at this and let's think about point slope form. So point slope form is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Had to think about it for a minute there. And so you've got this in your dashboard. It is under Algebra Resources, so you can just look right there in the Algebra Student membership. Okay, so that's our formula for point slope. Now let's think about perpendicular. So perpendicular lines, we know that is going to be lines that form a right angle, like a four-way stop, right? But there are a couple of things that you have to do to get the lines to be perpendicular to each other. You have to do two things, actually, two specific things. You have to change the sign. So if one slope is positive, then the perpendicular slope will be negative. If it starts negative, then the perpendicular is positive. And you have to flip or use the reciprocal of the slope. Flip the slope. Okay, so let's think about what that means. So think about in the equation that we're given, what's the slope here? Y equals mx plus b. We know that m is the slope, right? And so the slope of this line is 1/3. So now let's think about what the perpendicular slope is. So the perpendicular, that's the symbol for perpendicular. It's an upside down capital T. Perpendicular slope. I have to change the sign. So it was positive, now it's negative, and I have to flip it. Instead of 1/3, it's 3/1, which is good for graphing, but just know that like -3 divided by 1 is -3. So we would say that the perpendicular slope is -3. Okay. So we've got some important information here. We've got our point slope formula, right? We've got an xy coordinate. This would be like x sub 1, y sub 1. And we know our perpendicular slope. So we've got everything in place to write the new equation. So let's come down here and do that. So y minus y sub 1, the first y is a -2. So I'm going to put y minus -2. So that becomes y plus 2 equals m. The perpendicular slope is -3 times x minus, and then the first x over here was 9. All right, that is it. As far as like writing this in point slope form, that's the answer to point slope form. Like that is the equation. Okay, so now it says to graph the lines. So we can graph, we'll go ahead and graph this one. I'm going to start at the point that it gave me. It says that there is a point on this line at 9, -2. So I'm going to go 9 down 2, right? 9 and down 2, put a point. And then I know that the slope is -3/1. And, you know, that's like rise over run. So that would be like down 3 and over 1 to the right. Or you could even go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and left 1. And you could continue that, but you'll see that that's going to form a nice line. And let's see if I can get it to kind of go through there. All right, let me move myself here. Okay. So now let's go back and graph the original. So right here, we remember that the B can help us to remember this is where to begin. So I'm going to begin at -6 on the y-axis. So I'm going to put a point here at -6. And then my slope here is 1/3. I need to rise 1 and run 3 to the right. Or I can fall 1 and run 3 to the left. Either way, I'm creating a positive slope. So I got to think overall, positive slope is going to be in this direction. The negative slope I know is going to be more in this direction. Okay, so always good to double check that and make sure that you're on track for that. Make sure I'm in the right spot here. And okay, something like this. Okay. All right. So now we have our original and we have the new one that's in pink there, and take a look at the intersection of those two lines. Right here, it does appear to be a right angle, which is exactly what we wanted. We wanted this to be perpendicular. So that's how to graph a perpendicular line in point slope form, given a slope intercept form equation. Ugh, lots of good stuff here. It's kind of cool how it works out. All right. I hope that helps you. I'll see you next time.